in lovely Santa Barbara, California. Santa Barbara, one of our favorite cities in California. So let's first off, let's get the elephant out of the room. All right. Sinclair's been making fun of my speech impediment all week, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
I have not.
There was a day.
There was a day. Yeah, there was a day.
there was one
I'll take
day.
that. There was a day.
So I had recently some nice dental surgery. So I'm gonna be talking a little bit off. Not too noticeable. It's probably more noticeable to me than it is anyone else in the world, especially this is your first podcast. But a little elephant in the room. I'll get that out the way. Second, we focus on this podcast very heavily on individual wealth, on family wealth. But today, Queen, I think we're going to shift gears just a little bit and talk like macroeconomics, group economics. How can we as an entire community, state, African diaspora build wealth together, which is exciting for me. I'm a nerd out.
I'm sure you're gonna
I'm a nerd out. Listen, if you're a fan of Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics, if you're a fan of Think and Grow Rich, if you're a fan of a wealth choice, if you are just an economic person, you want to make sure the whole community can win and secure the bag, this episode right here is for you. Queen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cool. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at them4show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the making.
And welcome to the M4 Show. Welcome back, beautiful people, to the M4 Show, Melanated Married Millionaires in the making. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And as usual, I have with me my beautiful, my locked up queen in a bun, my matcha loving, my challah French toast eating, melanated queen herself. Please introduce yourself.
I think you called me a melanated queen twice, and I'm not mad at it at all. My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. Yes, my locks are popping. Yes, I did have a matcha this morning, as well as some challah French toast.
Talk your stuff.
Holla, holla.
Not holla, holla. Oh man. But today we get to bring back a real close friend of the show, a friend of Declare. We met him for the first time in Tulsa's Black Wall Street, actually, like a very chance engagement. He was wearing some letters, and I was like, "Hey, what's up with them letters?" Right? And then from there, we met again in Atlanta for his podcast, and then he came with us to Oakland, or specifically, where were we at? Alameda, specifically for New Year's, and then we went back to Atlanta. So we just really growing a dope relationship, grow friendship. And it's another visionary. So we got Be Conscious, the founder of Our Palate, which is a fintech platform connecting consumers to Black-owned businesses all around the world. Please give a warm M4 welcome to Be Conscious. Come on to the stage, brother. How you living, King?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me?
Oh yeah, you are loud and
crispy, as Jair would say.
Yes.
Crispy, yeah. I know the mic was a little loud earlier, but
no, your levels all tuned in.
You came in hot, but you're good now.
It came in hot. Cool.
Oh man, but how's Atlanta treating you right now? Be Conscious.
Atlanta's treating me well, man. The sun is shining. It's nice and tempered weather. It's not like blazing hot yet. Once June comes around, it's an oven. But we enjoy the Mayflowers. Before they become scorched. But
respect.
It's good. I can't complain.
All right. And I know we did a little bit of an intro. One thing that I definitely forgot on the intro is that you are also a superhero, right? In the Dreamcatcher episode, you were like, entrepreneurs, we're superheroes. If you don't mind, break that down one more time for folks that are just being introduced to you on why you perceive entrepreneurs as superheroes.
Absolutely. So the full title for that would be a time traveling superhero. And the reason why is because we're tapping into our vision. So our vision, our power, and our potential, that's like considered like my inner holy trinity, right? So you tap into your vision, that's a glimpse into the future. Your vision shows you what your potential is. And when you commune with your vision and your potential, those snippets of the future, you really tap into your true power. So that power makes you the superhero, but the vision and the foresight makes you the time traveler. So that's why I connect it all together. And I think we are time traveling superheroes.
Big facts.
Yeah. No objections here.
No objections at all. And I think every superhero has an origin story, right? Whether it was a specific event or an environment, a circumstance that gave them their superpowers. Your superpower being economics, your superpower being statistics, your superpower being, connecting with groups. What's the origin story? Right? How did you get to be the Be Conscious you are today?
Oh wow. I would say enlightenment in a way. A perspective, that's a better word to use. I think perspective is a great word to use. That's the origin story. The social climate back in 2020 when Our Palate was truly conceived was, as we all know, was just very it was a lot. All right. You had the pandemic, you had civil unrest, social unrest, a lot of things happening. But that perspective, that angle, that vantage point enabled me to, again, tap into my potential through my vision. And so since there were no distractions, that's all I had time to do. And so one thing led to another. It started out as a food blog, by the way. I don't think I shared you like the original name of Our Palate. It was some wonky name that we called it. And it went through like 5 or 6 different iterations. But it grew and evolved into a true universe where we can find Black businesses anywhere and everywhere and use them and utilize access to them to truly build and practice group economics worldwide, actually. So that's kind of the origin story. It started in 2020. That perspective I had from saying, listen, we need to do something about this, and we need to use the power of community, which is our greatest technology, to build a better future for ourselves.
Shay.
Yeah.
Shay. And I see there's comments coming in. If anyone has comments, questions for Be Conscious, for M4, definitely make sure you put them in there. I know he's ready for it. I know he's ready for the questions, for the comments.
Yeah, Miss Carmelita joining us.
Carmelita, the queen. Thank you. You know I can't read Sinclair. Talk to me.
It's an awesome superpower explanation, and I am all for Team Declare.
Thank you, Queen Carmelita. We appreciate you. So there's so many places we can go with this conversation, B, right? I know when we were in Atlanta for your Bank on It series, we were really talking about like, what does a Black economy, what can it look like? We were talking about, is Black capitalism the way? We were talking about like, is there a standard operating procedure for children, for families? Like we talk about a lot of dope stuff on that series. Definitely make sure y'all go check that out. But within this conversation, how do you want to frame it? How do you want to move forward, knowing that we're talking to beautiful, melanated married couples out there?
On the topic of people who are, I would assume, are trying to produce families, right? If you're married, I would assume that's the next step, right? Afro America was a fun time when we were, chopping it up, right? But I think in terms of family, being marriage, love, and community building, those 4 building blocks we talked about, that started the entire conversation, which was feed, heal, teach, and invest. I think that's the direction we can go into. And when we get to my list, I'll kind of see how those businesses connect that. But when you really keep those in mind, in terms of buying Black or just building community in general, like you can't go wrong. I think that's a good place to start, is feed, heal, teach, and invest. What can we do with those 4 things, and how can we build community from there?
So can we rewind a little bit for those who are hearing those four pillars, if you will, for the first time? Why those 4? Like, what is the significance of those 4 pillars, as a part of a community or as tools to build community? Let's break it down.
No, that's a great question. I think I'll use Greenwood as a great example. And you might see behind me, The Victory of Greenwood is one of these books that I've been reading. But Greenwood, for those who may commonly know it as Black Wall Street, when you really look at the true story of Greenwood, the full story, should I say, they had those 4 necessary building blocks. In my professional opinion, I don't think it is possible for these other communities, whether they be Asian communities, white, Hispanic, Arab, for them to circulate their dollar so many times without these 4 essential building blocks. So an example would be, okay, well, restaurants, you got to eat any type of groceries, produce, right? You got to eat. So that's just kind of an essential, right? And Devon, you mentioned Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So they kind of directly translate to the necessities, the bare necessities of humanhood. So you got to eat. That's easy, right?
Yep.
Heal. Well, whether it's a scrape cut, whether you have a pre-existing condition, whether your body is at a dis-ease and you want to correct that, whether you want to tap into your full holistic health and wellness, that's a no-brainer, right? I kind of want to be, skin glowing and melanin just flowing, everything. Teach, education, wisdom, knowledge. That is another essential pillar. When you think of these age-old philosophers and mathematicians and researchers and whomever, they pass down knowledge, whether it be the mythos of the gods, whether it be theories that we use today, like the laws of physics and chemistry. That's all teaching. Someone taught you something, whether it was how to be a man, how to be a woman, how to tie a tie. Here's how you solve this equation. Here's how you drive a car. That beautiful exchange of information from parent to child, from partner to partner, all of that is teaching and wisdom. That's the third thing. We got feed. We already know we got to eat. I'm sure we would love to have our skin glowing every day. And then teach. Knowledge is important. Invest is probably my favorite part because it kind of loops it back around. It kind of creates that feedback loop, right? Because when you invest, whether you apply this to modern day times, you can invest via banking platforms or invest into a business. You can invest into the latest crypto that's founded by, a Black startup or a Black couple, whatever the case may be. But you can also invest any of those previous 3. So you can reinvest. If I am taught a new profound vision from my father or my mother, or if my partner comes to me and says, bestows upon me this wisdom through just us being married and in love with each other, I then impart that to our children, or I then impart that to maybe my younger brother or sister. So you can just it creates that feedback loop. Let me invest that into the future. An essential ingredient of wealth is not just money. It's not houses. It's not just fancy cars. It's knowledge.
Facts.
And so that reinvestment piece is probably my favorite part, is you actually have to turn back and rinse and repeat. So yeah, those are the 4.
I just also thought about kind of the circle of life, the circle of the reinvesting of knowledge, in terms of I feel like when we're all starting out, when we're born, right, we learn everything from the environment around us. So from whoever raised you, right, from your parents, from your grandparents, your aunties, your uncles, that's who you're learning from naturally, because that's who is raising you. So I feel like a lot of our values, a lot of our language, right, everything comes from our parents or whoever's raising us. Whereas I feel like later in life, it almost switches. Not entirely, because I feel like there's always wisdom gained from elders. However, I feel like, right, technology, right? Think about my Nana, love my Nana, love my Nana to life. Yeah. But anytime there's any type of issue with technology, she's instantly going to my brother, right? And she's like, please help me here. Or with real estate, right? We're deeper into the real estate game than I think, or at least either of my parents. I think your dad's dabbling in there too. But we're now going back and reinvesting, right? Teaching our parents, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, y'all should get in this game, right? And I feel like there's a little bit of that as newer waves of technology. We're out in the world, right? Learning all these new things, tapping in all these new technologies, traveling. And so we're bringing that information back as well to not only our younger siblings, other people in our communities, but also to our elders and to our parents as well. So it is an interesting kind of feedback loop and reinvestment of energy and education always.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And so one of the books that I know has influenced the way that you move and has influenced the way that we move is Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics, right? And Powernomics, and I know Carmelita's read Powernomics. Anyone else has read it, feel free to drop your gems in there. But one of the things that he talks about in there is the concept of ethno-aggregation, right? Which is exactly what Greenwood was, exactly what Chinatown is. When a group of people who have a collective language, a collective religious identity, or collective ethnic identity come together, pool their resources so that they can feed each other, heal each other, right? Educate each other, and reinvest in their community. Ethno-aggregation.
Shout out to Carmelita, who said she's got the book right there.
Right in her hand. Come on, Carmelita. Come through, scholar.
That's amazing.
What do you pull from Powernomics? What are some things that you're pulling as a leader, as a visionary from Powernomics to hopefully create a successful Black economic model? Oh, he was ready for it. Y'all.
Right.
Yeah, that gets me excited. So fun fact, I actually have not read the book yet. I got so many to go through. I just finished the Black Agenda because I sent you these a while ago, right? So I'm going through it. I've read analysis of this book yet. I actually haven't physically cracked it open.
Well, so let's go through your book list then.
Absolutely.
Talk to us. Give us the titles.
So, and then I'll definitely give my answer. So like the Black Agenda, right? This dives into bold solutions for a broken system. So like this ties in a lot of historical context from education, healthcare, even content creation, bias, all of it, climate change, and it ties into how it broadens the scope from Black economics, because economics is inherently an emotional practice, because buying and selling, people buy what they believe in first and foremost. And so economics is in a sort of way a philosophical ideology when you really think about it. And so what the Black Agenda does is it doesn't just address just the hard numbers. It addresses the extremely complex perspective of human beings, and especially melanated human beings, us, right?
Ooh, wait, hold on. We gotta pause right there. Right there. You said it's a lot. Real deep. You said people buy what they believe in.
Absolutely.
Let's please pause and break that down on how we can actually use that to leverage the new Black Wall Street, right? How do we change people's or tap into people's belief system to make them buy Black more often, right? How do we use that to keep the money within the community more?
Yeah. So that's actually a great segue into my answer to your question. I've outlined like 4 main roadblocks for what makes it so hard and challenging to like buy Black consistently, long term, comprehensively. Like those words are important because anybody can buy Black maybe tomorrow for like a couple of days and then it drops off. Y'all probably remember Black Tuesday. That was a fad for like whatever, right? My goal, the mission of our palette, is to make it as easy and accessible as possible to buy Black for an entire year, preferably $1 million, like nationwide, to circulate that. So how can we do that for an entire year? Inspiration comes from the Montgomery bus boycott, which lasted for 381 days. So we effectively bought Black, right, for over a year. And by buying Black, I mean we had our own taxi system. And with that came us to connecting with each other in terms of like where we could drop our kids off at school, where we could get groceries, all of that, right? So bringing it back, these 4 main roadblocks are lack of means, lack of knowledge, lack of access, and lack of consonance, which is very, very complex. And again, going back to that emotional piece, right? So lack of means, that's easy. That's just whether you have the money or you don't.
Right.
People may not want to, in my research, may not want to, if they had to choose between going up the street to Kroger to buy some bread from a non-Black owned company, they can get it that same day, but they don't know that the Black bread company exists, and they may have to go online and purchase it and pay extra for shipping, and it may get here in like 3 to 5 days. So that barrier there is just the means, right? We're spoiled with Amazon. You get free shipping. It's going to be here in 24 hours. It's that simple. So how can we supplant that? Lack of knowledge, that's another no-brainer, is we simply don't know that these exist. We don't know that there are over 150 Black brands in Target, which has over 2,000 stores nationwide. So you have access points all over the country for hundreds of Black brands. So there's a knowledge piece. It's not truly as promoted. Then you have access. Okay, so we know they exist. We want to buy from them, but how do we get to them? So the access piece is, okay, maybe they don't have the infrastructure. If they're based in Colorado or California, they may not have the fulfillment infrastructure to service New York, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, or vice versa, right? So, I mean, majority of the company is small businesses. Small businesses run America, by the way. So when you think of like just small businesses in general, whether they're black, white, green, blue, purple, it doesn't matter. Small businesses are very prevalent in the country in general. So that comes with small business, you know, roadblocks, right? And so having the infrastructure to service an influx of, I don't know, 1,000 customers, right? That sounds like a great thing, but if you don't have the inventory or the staff to service them, that could kind of create a bottleneck, even though it sounds like a good problem to have, right? So that's
so frustrating.
It's very frustrating, right?
So frustrating.
So the access piece, and I'm gonna get to the point. Just stay with me. So consonants is the fourth one. It's the most it's very complex because consonants is that mental tug. Cognitive dissonance is kind of what we're talking about, but consonants and dissonance, those are the opposites. So consonants, the lack thereof is that mental tug of like, I found this Black brand. I want to buy from it. I have the money to get it. I know where it's at. It's up the street, whatever. But is it, you know, what's the quality looking like? Let me check the reviews. I didn't like the way she spoke to me, whatever. Those are real and very natural, reoccurring psychological trends that occur. It happens. There's studies that show it. There's so many studies, and I'm doing my own qualitative study, which is why I came up with these 4 main roadblocks. So all of those roadblocks, right? Well, how do we flip that on its head? Here's the answer to your question, Devon. I've outlined Palate Protocol, and Palate Protocol says, you know what? This is how we're going to make it as easy and accessible as possible to buy Black for an entire year. We start off by recognizing. So we have to kind of make that first step, that courageous step, and recognize that there are Black businesses out here that have quality products and services that we can participate in. Then from there, we strategize. All right, cool. We say, what's the best way to navigate this? Where am I? I'm in the Southeast. I'm in the Southwest. I'm in the Northeast. I'm in whatever. Okay, I know most of these are on the Western seaboard. I can get these. These are easy. Okay, cool. Well, I know that this business is offers shipping and they do a lot of promo codes, or I can subscribe and save 10%. That's the strategy. The mobilize is next. That's just, you do it, right? You kind of put your money where your mouth is. The proof is in the pockets, is what I say. From there, we're at another feedback loop. We revolutionize. That's where we rinse and repeat. So I'm gonna go to my partner and say, "Yo, Devon, I found this list right here. You might want to check this out. Here's how I found all these. Here's the amount of money I was able to spend. Here's how this impacted my life. I can cook with Black-owned products. I can make sandwiches with Black-owned products. I can buy items for my children, brush your teeth. There's baby products, baby and toddler, and you rinse and repeat, and the cycle just keeps going. That's Palate Protocol.
So I wanna rewind Palate Protocol one more time, right after we go through some of these comments. We're getting book recommendations coming in. We're getting comments coming in. So I want to give a shout out to our live audience real quick. And then I want to go back to the Palate Protocol and how we can use it for the family. Like, what recommendations you have for a family unit to follow that Palate Protocol. Queen, talk to me about these comments.
Yeah, so first we got a book recommendation from Craig. It is by Neely Fuller Jr., the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept Textbook.
Wow.
So definitely check that out. Thank you for the recommendation, Mr. Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
Another good book share is The Black Tax by Sean Rochester. And that is from his Carmelita.
Greatness, y'all. There's tons of knowledge out there. Highly recommend y'all get these books, read them with your kids, read them with the family. Some of these might not be kid friendly 100%, so you may need to read through it first and then go ahead and do a remix for them. But you know, the sooner they can start to get these downloads in, the sooner they can break that the dissonance. That's what was it? What was the word? Consonants.
Cognitive dissonance. They can
cognitive dissonance. Down. And then your word was consonants, right?
Yes, they can add consonants.
Boom, right?
Yes.
We need to download and program our amazing melanated geniuses while they're young to support their own, to be innovative, to learn how to monetize their own gifts as soon as possible. Queen, did you have any questions before he goes back into palate protocol specifically for a family?
I don't think I have questions. I was just really thinking through like my own experiences with supporting Black businesses and like that continence, whatever the word is you said, it's very real. And I was thinking about like my biggest barrier is the service. And I feel like it's not coming out of nowhere, right? It's because I've had experiences where maybe the customer service hasn't been the best when I've supported Black businesses. That doesn't mean that's the truth for everybody. And I need to check myself and not put that on every single Black business that I come in contact with, right? You got to give them the same chance that you would give Ralph's down the street. Right? At the random grocery store. We've all had a terrible experience at Walmart or whatever.
Perfect example. There's a Chipotle in our neighborhood that gives the worst service. So, you know, we love Chipotle, but this Chipotle right here, they're always out of chicken. The line's always crazy long.
To just give you an idea of what we're talking about, we walked in at like 1:30 one day to have like a business lunch. 1:30 p.m. Every single tray was empty. I'm like, what have y'all been doing? It is 1:30 in the afternoon. Where is the food?
Right. Like, where is it?
What happened? But to your point, we didn't put that on all Chipotles. We just said, okay, this Chipotle is bad. Let's go to another one.
Right.
Whereas sometimes you have an experience with one Black business. It can be a nail shop, lash tech, a lock person. But you'll put that experience on every Black business in every other category. So just give folks the benefit of the doubt, right? If you have a bad experience, that's that one entrepreneur, that one business. Don't umbrella it to all Black businesses,
right?
But getting back to you, Be Conscious. Talk us through the palate protocol for a family unit. So let's say me and the Dovely Queen right here, Sinclair. Let's say we got 3 little ones, right? What would be your recommendations for us on how to buy Black?
Yeah, absolutely. So to reiterate the 4 elements again, it's recognize, strategize, mobilize, and revolutionize. And I'm gonna pull out my handy dandy list here.
Hey, come on! Shout out to the scholar with notes. We love it
for sure. So this is actually really funny, Devon, because I think you asked me for like 5 or 10. Like I literally kept finding more. There's like 25 on this list. I'm sorry. I have too many.
We need the full list.
Right. Good problems to have. So I actually broke this down into for the parents, for the kids, and for the family. For the parents, you can start off with Black and Bold coffee sold on Target shelves. They also have tea, so that's a great way to start your morning. Maybe on the way to work, or maybe you work from home, right? You just enjoy some all natural tea. They also come with like the empty tea bags, so you can like make your own loose leaf tea. There's so many options. The 125 collection is another great one if you want to help yourself relax. These are soy-based and all natural candles. They smell really good and they last really long. And so that's another relaxer. Maybe you want to warm up your partner a nice bath, right? Make sure you get some 125 collection candles to be, surrounding, create the ambiance. Right? Exactly. Maybe when you're in that bath, you may want to top it off with some libations a little bit. So maybe check out the McBride sisters. They have champagne and wine. So that's just something, again, this is for the parents. So this is adult friendly. Okay. Adult friendly. But yeah, another thing to get you started in the morning, you got to brush your teeth, right? So there's actually 2 options here. We hope. There's 2 options here. You can hit up oral, or you can go to Big Mouth Toothbrush, which is a electric toothbrush. So Coral Oil just has like the standard toothbrushes. They also have like the other stuff you do with your mouth, floss, and I think they have a mouthwash coming out as well. So, shout out to the oral care. You got to have that. And Camps Bay Blankets, based out in, I don't want to get this wrong. He just moved to Atlanta. That's what I do know. I forgot where he's from, but shout out to my guy, Elijah.
In South Africa.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that's a great way just to have like some throw blankets. You might want to, maybe I'll have a love seat in the living room or a butterfly chair or some accent, furniture. You can throw the blankets on there. For the kids.
There we go. Come on. We love the kids. We love the kids. What we got for them?
So, I have a whole collection in here. We're in the Benji's closet. So, Ujamaa lighting is another great one to get you started. So, in your kids' rooms, you want to get some ambient lighting. You can get the standard bulbs, or maybe you want to actually control the dimness, the brightness. They have smart bulbs. So they have LED bulbs that you can use. You can control with your phone. They connect to Google Home, all of that stuff. Ujamaa lighting is a great place to be. Tinky Poo diapers for our toddlers. They have diapers.
Tinky Poo. Come on.
Absolutely. Tinky Poo. I just was able to use
them.
A pack. No. Nah.
He takes the product quality serious. He's like, listen, I gotta try everything.
Low key. I do that, but obviously since I don't have a child near me, I didn't do that. But that's I actually do quality control. I gifted it to a couple of mine at their friends of mine at the baby shower. So
nice.
Here we go.
And then we have Fresh Dolls, also sold on Target shelves. This is a Black-owned doll company, found at Target. This last one for the kids is probably my favorite, or at least the most exciting. It's Proud Puffs cereal. It's a cereal brand. I believe Snoop Dogg has a brand as well, but I've heard of Proud Puffs. It's an independently owned cereal brand coming to stores soon.
Nice.
You ready for the family?
Let's do it for the whole family.
The whole family.
People are going to be rewinding this episode over and over again, trying to get everything. If you can, Ben, send us a picture of that list or email it, text it over so that we can add it to the description afterwards, so people don't have to go searching for it all. We'll have it right there at the bottom.
Absolutely. I'll actually curate this into my Black Home collection and I'll export it and send it to you.
Perfect. Thank you. But talk to us for the family.
For the fam. So, of course, we got True Laundry detergent. Please make sure you wash your clothes. Okay.
Please.
I mean, that's just, please make sure you wash your clothes. They've got laundry detergent, fabric softener. They're working on some other products as well. But they're actually based right here in the ATL, Atlanta's very own Black-owned warehouse here in College Park, Georgia. So shout out to True Laundry. The Black Bread Company is another one. You got to make sandwiches for the kids, right? You getting out the store, they got burger buns, hot dog buns, whole wheat, white wheat, everything. And they just launched in over 200 Target stores as of, I think, yesterday. What else we got? We got Real toilet paper sold at Target shelves.
Shout out to Real toilet paper.
I don't need to explain what you need to do with these.
I don't think so.
But use it.
But use it.
But use it. Oh man, yeah, this is exciting. So we have Michelle's syrup, making breakfast for the family breakfast that go on waffles, pancakes, French toast, you name it. I find that at Publix and Kroger. Well, y'all don't have a Kroger over there. It'll probably be at the Safeway, yeah.
Kroger, is that Safeway?
Maybe. I don't know. There's like 3 big ones.
Yeah. And there's a couple more in food. You have Symphony chips. They come in small packs. They can go with these sandwiches you make for the kids. They have good foods as well. That's bean products, peas, mixed veggies. You can mix them in with stir fry. You can mix it in with rice, chicken, you name it. And speaking of cooking, what are you going to cook your food in? Mersai cookware. So this is what I love when I get excited, like things can start to pile on. And so Mersai cookware, you can put your Black-owned products inside of that. Make your food MERSI cookware. Speaking of sandwiches, you can also put the Trade Street jam. They have jams and jellies. They've got fig flavored what is it? I think it's called something Chipotle fig. There's a strawberry flavor. It's a bunch of different things. It's pretty great. They also have like peanut brittle, I think. Yeah, and a dozen cousins is more beans and mixed veggies, and that's the list.
Let's come on, clap it up for Be Conscious. Our Palate came through with a list of at least 20 different brands, different businesses that the family can support. There's really, at this point, at 2023, there's no excuse on how you can't buy black.
Mm-hmm.
That's right? A fact.
Even if it's $100 a week, $100 a month, $1,000 a month, somehow go ahead and get you some cookware, get you some bread, get you some cologne, glasses, shirts, chips, candles, wine. Like the list goes on. Do what you can. Queen, go ahead. I see you bubbling over there.
I was just gonna say, do we have any we want to add to the list since we blessing the people with all these wonderful businesses? As you were talking about one of the last ones you said with jams, I started to think about Nana Foods. We haven't bought their ketchup in a while. Yeah, but Nana Foods is great. They have like a spicy ketchup. I don't know about you. They're speaking actually to people just like me, who my whole life I've been mixing my hot sauce and ketchup to give it a little kick. Okay. They said, I got you. We got kicking ketchup. Yeah. Which is spicy ketchup. It's delicious.
Best ketchup I've had. No cap.
Yes.
Best ketchup.
It's so good. They got salad dressings. They got marinades. So yes, definitely check them out as well.
I'm gonna hit that up. Yeah.
There we go. As a friendly shout out, we got Rare X brand. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all tap in with the Rare X clothing. We had it on all week. Cool. So we're gonna go to a quick commercial, and then when we get back, I want to talk about your economic model, right? So I know you've been doing a lot of research and you've been doing a lot of reading, and you may have some notes, right? You may have a vision on how the community can move forward and build wealth together, right? Not just, a few people up at the top being wealthy and everyone else is scraping for crumbs, but how can we as a whole community come together and come up? So we're going to do a quick commercial break sponsored by Play Black Wall Street, and then we'll get into your economic model. That sound cool?
That sounds amazing.
All right, folks, we'll be right back. Look, we're going to get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game, right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode. All right, welcome back. In case you didn't know, we are here with the founder, the visionary, the time-traveling superhero, Be Conscious himself, the visionary behind Our Palate, which is a fintech platform connecting consumers to Black-owned brands. And what he's about to do right now, y'all, buckle up. What he's about to do is break down his own economic model and strategies moving forward. And I'm gonna sprinkle a little something on it, right? B, it's gonna be a nice back and forth. Be conscious. Absolutely. But get the conversation started. What are you thinking for economic model?
Oh man, I'm gonna actually borrow a snippet from the commercial that you said just now. Is that we have brilliance in our DNA? That's a bar, right? So. Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. Shout out to Simon Berry. Shout out to all the founders of Greenwood, the mothers and fathers that came before us. If we want to talk about an ecosystem, I'm an engineer, right? So before we even design, build, and test this structure, we need a blueprint. We need a schematic. We need a sort of inspiration to construct and build this thing out of. So we already have the blueprint. It's literally inside us. So Greenwood is one of many. There's Seneca Village, there's Oscarsville, there's Rosewood, there's so many other examples. I'm gonna go ahead and take it there. We invented America. Let's just be honest. The traffic lights that we stop at every single day came from a Black person. The water guns that we buy for our children in the summertime came from a Black person. A lot of the hair care products were inspired by a Black female millionaire, and I think a billionaire at one point, Madam C.J. Walker. And so when we talk about inspiration, our blueprint, the schematic, is already there. And I'm hovering on this for a second because it's so important, because we talked about cognitive dissonance and we talked about recognizing. So people, it's often a challenge that says, all right, well, what do we do? How do we buy Black? Well, like, you realize, like, we've been doing this. Like, the community model has existed before. Has it been destroyed? Absolutely. Has it been tampered with? Absolutely. That does not mean that it never existed. So that's why recognition is so important, and kind of pulling back the layers of that CD, cognitive dissonance, right? So first and foremost, we have the blueprint. Schematic is there. Getting into it and circling back to Palate Protocol, our Palate really wants to be that flagship for turning this Buy Black movement, that's a social movement, into an economic movement. In my professional opinion, I think that it has been treated as a social movement, which is fine, because of course it's like, hey, Buy Black, show your receipts, tell your friends. Great. Where's the economics though? You see, so it's great. Likes and comments are wonderful. Businesses need patrons. Businesses need employees. They need investors. Like, we still need the economic piece. And so, again, economics is an emotional and social way of life. So if we treat it as an economic movement, we kind of win across the board, as opposed to a social movement.
Yeah, not to cut your wisdom, but can you break down what is the difference between a social movement and an economic movement? Like, what are those things that really differentiate between the two?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think from my vantage point, let's take the Black Tuesday thing for an example. Did y'all do the Black Tuesday thing? It happened like 2020.
Black Tuesday is a new thing to me. What I did do is the My Black Receipt.
I've heard of that
with Kesha at 19 Keys. I did that for like maybe 2-3 years in a row, and then I think they stopped it last year.
So Black Tuesday, I think, is a perfect example. I literally just saw black squares on my TL. I was like, what's going on here? And of course, Instagram is a social media platform.
Oh, so we did that.
Social awareness for saying Blackout Tuesday and all this other stuff, right? And honestly, to this day, I don't exactly know what the original purpose was. At one point, it was like a celebrate, Black health. Another point, it was like Black businesses. Another thing, I didn't know what it actually was. I just saw Black and I was like, all right, cool. I'm whatever. But that's part of my issue, is that where's the strategy? The socialization of it is cool. It's fine. Liking, sharing, reposting, commenting, that's fine. The proof is in the pockets. The proof is all in the pockets. And so we can empower ourselves all day long. If we still have the other roadblocks of where do we find these businesses, how do we access them, then are we really making progress? So that's why, as an economic movement, on the other hand, we're saying, all right, we need a network to access them. Shout out to Our Palate. We need a way to access them instantly. Well, when our mobile app comes out, you can instantly search for anything you need, whether it's socks, pots and pans, diapers, chips, like literally. And so most searches are coming from TikTok and Amazon. I forgot the study that released that, but TikTok and Amazon are like on the top of the charts, like up next to Google in terms of just places that people go to search for things. And so when you think of people, what people are using as a point of reference, as a kind of a search authority figure, they find Amazon and TikTok as reliable sources. Well, can we find a directory that serves as a reliable source to be like, I need to buy Black right now. I got a barbecue tomorrow. I need some spicy ketchup. I need some bread. I need it today. So that's the economic piece. because part of the economics in the business of any business is you need to be able to access your customers as quickly as possible. Right. So that's why economics, I think, as an economic movement, I think it will serve a better purpose with just social. I hope that answers your question.
Yep. Yeah, that does on the social versus economics.
Yep.
Perfect. Let's see where we were. I stopped you on your road to a bigger question, though.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the bigger question was just the overall economic model, right?
The model.
So if we are shifting from a social movement to an economic movement,
mm-hmm.
what are those steps, or what is your vision for that?
Yes. So yeah, that was just kind of taking it back to Palate Protocol and recognizing that recognizing, strategizing, mobilizing, and revolutionizing. And so we know now, we define what an economic movement is compared to a social movement, right? I think part of the equation, we do need, a push, which is why I'm glad that Playback Wall Street and M4 Show and Our Palate are all here. From there, when we empower our people and recognize that we are already economically empowered, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like in the trillions of our spending power. The number keeps changing, but what's undebatable is that we spend a lot.
I think it was like 1.7 trillion.
Yeah, somewhere around there. So recognize, strategize, mobilize, revolutionize. Recognize we have all this money that's going places. The J. Cole line says, good news is you came a long way. Bad news is you went the wrong way. So how can we get that 1.7 trillion to just turn in a different direction? I think the economic model is starting there. Seeing what we have and doing an inventory of the businesses we have, the customer base that we have, and the level of consumerism that we radiate in this country. But to fully answer your question, Devon, that is a complicated question to answer because the model is still being built. All I have right now is Palate Protocol, and it is currently being implemented. But I'm hoping that with respect to what you and Sinclair actually said on our episode back in September, is that this doesn't have to be a silo in Georgia or Alameda, California, or LA. It needs to be everywhere. And so when we start to make it more ubiquitous, we can create a network where there's a bunch of different, pop-ups and connecting pieces. And we can create now a kind of an internet of things with our own group economy. So yeah, it's a complicated way of saying we need to take full control of our economics. We need to do an inventory of the businesses we have access to and the level of consumerism that we radiate in this in our society. And we also need to follow Palate Protocol.
Agree. And I think, and we can ashe and clap to that. Right? Shout out to the Palate Protocol and just having the engineering mindset to create a protocol, right? Create a set of rules, regulations, and habits on how people should engage with the economy. I think we need to come up with a similar protocol for the entrepreneur, right? We're creating these protocols for like the consumer to buy Black, but then when they actually go to a Black business, they should have stellar customer service. They should know that that business is going to give back 5, 10, 20% of whatever they make to the community. They should know that that business is going to pay a fair, working, competitive wage to their employees, right? I think there needs to be protocols on both sides so that when we get a solid year of circulating that $1.7 trillion, we know that money is going to be reinvested into the community for sure. And I think that's one of the missing pieces in a lot of economic models that I see is they focus a lot on the consumer, but they don't focus on what are the actual businesses doing to deserve the money and invest back in the community.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect.
I think one of the things that came to mind is a conversation we were having some time ago about a restaurant, especially one that Grandy loves, that we go or we've had before, and she's mentioned how it's just her in the kitchen and running the entire restaurant. And I think I was just thinking about like, what are some of the barriers as an entrepreneur, as a Black business owner?
Yeah.
And
One bad day, it's over with.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's a mindset shift of the entrepreneur as well, that we have to not only just for my business and for me, but I have a civic responsibility to make sure my business can stick around for the customers that want this and expect this and want the consistency of this delicious food, right? Let me invest the time into training somebody to making these recipes or to hiring more staff or whatever. And it does take a lot of upfront energy. It does, but it allows for your business to thrive and to, like you said, you don't have to close the doors just because you have a sick day or, anything like that, where your business is not solely on your shoulders and your ability to get up every day and grind it out. At some point, we need to start thinking about, how do I scale? And again, not from the mindset of how can I scale so I can get a day off? It's how can I scale so that my business is viable and can stick around for as long as possible? Because it's also very disheartening as a customer to go, you support a Black business. Oh man, this is great. We're going to keep going there. We're going to go in there. And then a year later, they're gone. And it's like, dang, like that sucks. Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we need to take it from a responsibility as a business owner and as a I don't know, just a bigger part of the community and the diaspora.
Yeah.
I'll say.
So yes, that's a great response, because all of this applies to businesses as well. When we talk about Greenwood, right, one of our favorite communities to talk about, is they bought and sold from each other as well. So it wasn't just patrons, and they had white patrons, by the way. People were coming to North Tulsa from everywhere. And so the businesses themselves, though, I mean, they had, with the small airport, they had like 6 private planes. And when you just think of what the possibilities are, from having a movie theater to a barber shop to a grocery store to a church, like all of those are connected. You got to get your haircut before you go take the girl on a date, before you go to the movie theater. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to do steps. And then maybe your mom says, hey, go pick up some eggs before you go out. Like, all right, cool. I'm gonna run to the store. Da 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 da. So like, she needs the eggs for her baking business, so she's gonna make some bread to give out on the market the next day. So like, it's while we're sleeping, we're literally circulating money. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yes, that definitely applies to businesses as well.
For sure, the ecosystem. But we're gonna give you a little bit of a break. We've been tossing questions at you left and right. We are going to head into our Ask Declare segment. This is where you can ask myself or the Queen any questions about health, wealth, or marriage. Be conscious. Go for it.
Oh man. So y'all know I started that new series, right? Dating Entrepreneurship. How has life been for the past year being married?
How has life been for the past year? This year has been a whirlwind of a year. So much has happened this year. So from what's the month?
It's May of 2022.
Yeah.
So we're still out in Mobile. What was happening last year?
So, I mean, I would say, and we'll probably give very different answers because we're very different people, but life has been really busy but blessed.
Okay.
I would say, last year in May, we were just starting our LIT program for the first time, and LIT stands for Leaders Innovating Tomorrow. It's a financial literacy mentorship program we have in schools. So we had just started that off the ground. I was teaching all the classes in person. And to Sinclair's point about scaling, we had to bring in, team members. We had to train them. Sinclair's had to run payroll. We had to get, increase insurance to bring on more people to the team so that we can teach in more schools. And that was a huge, I think, unlock for us as entrepreneurs, a huge unlock for us as far as being able to teach financial literacy to the Black community, to high school students. Huge move for the business. We've been traveling like crazy the past really 6 months. Been around the world, Cape Town, Colombia, Portugal, Zanzibar, Santa Barbara, Seattle, Coachella, like just like events after event. Yeah, next year come through, Ben. But it's just, I think this year has been the year that we wanted to really tap into the almost full potential of being entrepreneurs, being free, not having kids, and just enjoying each other as partners. So for me, the past year has been a beautiful roller coaster, Ben.
Okay.
And their answers are probably going to actually end up being pretty similar.
No, don't front for this camera.
Yeah.
Anyways, but no, because I feel like this past 12 months has been the most that we have worked together, I think, ever before. Not only do we both work from home, so just seeing each other all the time, but that's also different than if we both just had separate jobs working the whole time and we're just seeing each other in the hallway. But like actively working together, not all day, but throughout the day, we're okay. Did you send that email? Okay, did you do that? Like it's just it's a constant thing, really.
Yeah.
Throughout
you like working with me?
I do like working.
Just checking.
Just checking, right.
Just checking.
Ask her again when you offline. Right?
Look. Right. No, I do like working with you. Obviously, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it.
Right.
But no, it's been I feel like getting to know each other in a whole new way. We've talked about like the importance of like personality assessments and getting to know each other in romantically, but also professionally. It changes the game a little bit, and learning how to work with each other in a business sense is different. But I feel like we've had a lot of different phases in our marriage and in our business life. I think before we were in a phase of like business hours where like, okay, we work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And after 8 p.m. we shut it off and we just look into each other's eyes.
Right.
And if you are at a stage where that is possible, write it, because it does give a nice separation between marriage and business. All of that is so intertwined for us at this point, and that's okay. Like that's our season. That's the season we're in, right? Once we start having kids, there may be a little bit more separation, right? But I think I had to come into the realization that it's not always going to be that easy. At the end of the day, we're ambitious people and we have goals. And I feel like I'm now understanding that like that's going to come with some sacrifice, that there may be some nights where we're up till 11 o'clock putting in, play like Wall Street orders or what, for that. Yeah, I'm going back to the whole NBA sending out all those games and those late nights we had putting in all those orders, right? So yeah, every now and then there's gonna be those late nights, and that's okay. Like I needed to stop fighting those and just let them happen, because those late nights, those grinding sessions, this period of time is what is allowing us to live the lifestyle where we are in Santa Barbara, basically getting paid to stay here and filming this podcast. We just traveled for the whole month of March. Like this is all possible because of those days that we grinded it out. So that's a change that I've had to make, I would say, in the past year that has, I think, kind of given us a new unlock.
Wow.
Go ahead. Co-sign it. Go ahead.
Hey, don't get me in trouble on this podcast. Be conscious. Don't get me in trouble on this podcast, because when this camera turned off, I got just me and the queen over here.
Yeah.
No, but I agree. I think a bit of friction that we did have earlier in the entrepreneurship career was I was very committed to being up at 11, 12, 1, 2, where I think we have very similar wavelengths. Be conscious. And at that stage of our business, she was not. And she was not seeing the value in the work, because she's a health person. So she was really concerned for
your health. Yeah,
she was concerned for the health, right? And she still is concerned with the health. But I think now, seeing the fruits of the labor, seeing what happens when we stay up to 11 or 12, seeing the fact that we did get the NBA 521 Black Wall Street games, seeing the fact that we're able to hire on almost 10 people and impact lives and households. Like it's just different being able to see the impact directly. And I think the more that she has seen and felt the impact directly, the more it's like, okay, Devon, I understand you need to work sometimes. I understand we need to work sometimes. And that releases stress from me, right? Because I know now I don't have to worry about pleasing her and the mission.
Yeah.
I know I can do both at the same time and be okay in my household. So, like I said, this year's been a blessing of a year, B. Good question.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, man, I can't wait to bring y'all back for the thing. I'm in host mode now. So I'm like, how do you, because you all know my particular predicament, right? I share with you offline, but it's similar. It just kind of boiled down to priorities and misalignment, right? So like you said, Devon, we're on that same wavelength. Like, 11 p.m., 12 o'clock, I see the vision. I've traveled forward in time, but I was tethered to my partner at the time that it was hard to convey it back. The feedback loop was that big challenge. And so my question is, how do you vet, if possible, how do you vet someone to be in that alignment? Is it like a constant journey of like, okay, let's get realigned? Or, okay, I've had to realign you 3 times, 4 times too many. All right, we're going to have to figure out how does that work? Because that was literally the biggest challenge of my last relationship. As you can see, I'm still here, alive and well, just by myself. So how do you move past that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a different road for you because you're already a visionary. You're already building stuff. Whereas when me and the Queen got together, I wasn't necessarily on that road already, right? So it was like us kind of both growing together. We were already, I wouldn't say like in my head, she was going to be my wife. I don't know what was in her head, but later on, then I became like, oh, I want to start the business. I want to learn about Black Wall Street. I want to build a new Black Wall Street. And all that was technically outside of the promises that we had already given to each other, right? So I think we went through a maybe 2-year transition phase where it's like, okay, now Devon's a visionary. Now Devon wants to build. Where does Sinclair fit into that vision? Whereas for you, you're already a visionary. So it's very first 2, 3, 4 dates, right? I would be already screening. Yeah, this is my life. This is my I remember seeing your calendar, be like, hey, listen, Queen, this is my calendar. This is what you. If I don't text back,
this is why. Are you cool with it?
Right. Wow. But also for you being very clear on, do I need a partner to build with, or do I need someone that I can come home to and unplug to? Those are 2 very different people. Both can be dope for you, but it's a matter of which one do you want. She might not be able to do both, right? I think the Queen, you can do both. You're mainly my unplug. You do a lot of building with me, but you're mainly the person that takes care of me, unplug, recharge.
And that's good.
Like for you have to figure out which one you need long term, not just for be conscious right now, but the next 30, 40, 50 years, which one is going to be more important to you, the builder or someone who can help recharge you?
That's valid. Yeah. And I mean, seasons are important too. So like that was another roadblock, right? The seasons. And that's why I went back to like, how do you realign if it does kind of get out of whack? But like, the seasons are that's another big thing. But okay, I'm processing. But no,
did you want to add to that as someone dealing with a me?
So I had a couple of thoughts going in my head, but what I wanted to just say before it escapes me is that we do like every year for our anniversary, we do kind of a little, I don't want to say retreat, but it's almost like a retreat where it's like we just kind of focus, a check-in with like us as a couple, as a marriage. Like, how are you doing? Are we still good? Like, that's kind of the realignment period. Right. So I think that you can do that at any stage of your relationship, right? So maybe at the beginning, it's every couple of months or something like that. Or as you're going through a change, if you get into that serious relationship, then every year, like, okay, this is where I'm heading, right? This is my vision. This is what my life is going to be looking like. Does that still align with your vision and where you see yourself? And as long as it's still aligning, then y'all can continue to build together, whether you're building the same goal, the same vision, or 2 separate visions. Either one is fine. If you think about a lot of there's a mixed bag out there, right? When you think about a lot of the entrepreneurs, a lot of the content creators, a lot of the people you probably look up to, like, ask yourself, do you actually know who their partner is?
Yeah.
Have you seen them? Right. Do they work together? A lot of times, no. And it doesn't, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just a clear separation of, this is my marriage life at home. I keep that private, right? That's for me, versus, people that are building together, right? There's the couplepreneurs out there as well. Either one is fine. You just have to figure out which one is going to be best for you and your partner. Like we were having a conversation with a good friend about this of like, do you need that partner to be on your arm the whole time? Or do you just want someone in the room to come back to after those tough conversations and be like, oh, okay, am I good? My hair good? Check my teeth, right? Which person do you need? And that may take some trial and error, but I think it's also, for each individual person to figure out like, who do you want? And that may change with the seasons, but what do you actually need right now? Like what type of partner?
Wow.
Yeah. Somehow it's just turning into a relationship coaching session, but this is what the M4 is all about, right? We're a very holistic show. We're going to talk about economics. We're going to give you some Black businesses, but we're also going to give you a little bit of a relationship insight as well. Good holistic experience. But I do want to bring the spotlight back to you, Be Conscious, and talk a little bit about a very tough question that we ask almost all of our guests. Okay. And about 80,
what his answer
about 83% at this point have answered this question correct.
Okay.
I have good feeling about your answer.
All right.
Do you believe every Black family should have a business?
1000% yes.
Like this is rigged.
This is why I rock with him.
This is rigged.
The world is run by families.
The world is run by families. The world is run by businesses. So you might as well have one. For
anybody listening to this episode for the first time, there is no correct answer to that question. Devon is biased.
Okay, I am biased. That's a fact. Give us a little bit more context on your answer. Be Conscious.
Yeah, absolutely. The world is run by families. The royal family. Hello. Let's talk about that. I don't even know what you call them. The family of the White House. I don't know. The White House family, I guess. Sure. That's another one.
The first family, is it?
The first family? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because they got the first lady and all that stuff, right? First family, sure. The Cathy family, who owns Chick-fil-A.
I see.
The Gucci family. The Bezos family. I can go on and on.
Yeah. The Bill and Melinda Gates family.
Yes. And so there's so many examples of families that we wear on our chests sometimes, on our wrists, on our feet. These are families. And so I think that is inspiring. Sinclair, to kind of loop you in, you actually said that money makes you more of who you are, right? It amplifies what's in the person. So we can still be a family who is honest and pure and good, and be very financially solvent and make impact. So that's kind of tying it all together, is that absolutely, I do believe that the family should have a business. Let's make sure that business, that wealth building platform, has a lasting impact across the entire globe.
I like that. I like that. Just to play devil's advocate, as we talked about money. And so what I was saying is actually a quote from Devon. Okay. Money only multiplies the motives that's inside of you.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so that's a quote from one of his songs.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that is going to happen depending on the person, right? Mm-hmm. Either way, whether you're a good person or a not so great person,
right,
it is going to amplify you. So maybe the not so great people out there should not be starting businesses, because those are probably the ones out here ripping people off, doing bad things and not having the good motives. So that is why I am on the side of not every family should have a business. I just want to throw that out there.
Mm-hmm. But I could see the logic in that, though. No, I see what you mean, but I see what you mean.
But honestly, the original reason, if you can't tell, we have differing opinions, opposing opinions on this question. But the original reason why I said I did not think that every family should have a business was more on just now seeing what the life of an entrepreneur is, and that it's not cut out for everybody. Like, that's just a fact. It's really not cut out for everybody. And I think that it would run some families ragged, and families who maybe already have tension between them. I don't know that that's the type of family that's going to thrive running a business.
Right, but we also talk about that there needs to be some type of healing within the community as well. So
there we go. Talk about it.
What if the family was at a point where they can trust each other, where there wasn't any tension, which is the goal, right? That's where we want the Black community to get. At that point, now should every family have a business?
I think we could entertain that conversation then.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, looking at what it is, if every family had a business.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that there needs to be some healing before that happens, I don't think deters the fact that that still should be the goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just because there might be bad people, there might be tension, doesn't mean that we still shouldn't work towards the ideal. That's my stance, Queen. You can heal all the families. I'll help the family start a business.
Build the family.
And then they'll get listed on our palette.
100%.
Perfect.
We'll scale it. Heal, build it, and scale. Boom, done.
Exactly. I can't read these comments coming in. I do want to shout out to our live podcast listeners and watchers. The engagement has been dope on this episode. We appreciate you. Queen, please share these comments with me.
So it was Miss Carmelita saying, one, she said, it's Sinclair's disclaimer for me. Got to give that. But also she was given props for another bar said by Mr. Be Conscious over there that the world is run by families. She said, #that part.
That part. So let's go ahead and we'll quote that part, Rachel, on the back end, right? The world is run by families. So what we want to do, it's been a dope episode, Be Conscious. We appreciate you. This is episode 161.
Come on.
We are going through almost to 200. We're going to do something special, something dope for the 200. But me and the Queen, we're going to do some quick updates, and we're going to come back to you for closing words of wisdom, any bit of advice you have for families out there. Just what are your parting words? But Queen, go ahead and hit us with some updates.
So we've alluded to it already this episode, but we have a 12-week financial literacy program that we work with middle schools and high school students. We go into the classrooms, we task them with the question of what is a problem you see in your community, in your school, in your household, and how can you create a business that solves that problem? So throughout the 12 weeks, their deliverable is to create a business pitch for an idea that solves that problem. Let me tell you, these scholars are brilliant. Some of these ideas from middle schoolers is crazy, actually crazy. So yes, if you would love to see kind of the potential that these young entrepreneurs are able to think up, and just really the light bulbs that start to come up when they get the opportunity to think through solving a problem in this way is fantastic. Hit us up at info@playblackwallstreet.com. Again, that's info@playblackwallstreet, and that's all spelled out completely.com. And we can start to talk about how we get this program in your school. Right now, we are primarily based in Southern California, so we are looking to expand in like the LA area, Inland Empire, San Bernardino, San Diego. If you're in SoCal, hit us up. We definitely want to talk to you and possibly get this program in schools in your area.
Oh, there it is. Well done, Queen. Well done. Also, shout out to the Santa Barbara community for having us coming out to do the first Black grad from preschool all the way up to community college, Black grad for Santa Barbara and Goleta Valley. I was the keynote speaker for that graduation. So again, huge. Yeah. Thank you, Queen. But there's a huge shout out to the folks that are out here making history and setting dope traditions. If you have a graduation, you have a summer camp, you have some type of event, and you're looking for a keynote speaker, or you're looking for someone to come out and teach about financial literacy, to teach about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street, or to go over leadership principles, right? That's my zone of genius right there. Financial literacy, Black Wall Street history, or leadership principles. Definitely make sure you hit us up. info@playblackwallstreet.com. We do fly. We do hop on boats, hop on planes, all modes of transportation other than teleportation, because we don't trust it yet. Everything else we're willing to do. So hit us up, info@playblackwallstreet.com. And I look forward to supporting and empowering your community. Now, let's get back to be conscious with some words of wisdom, some parting words for our amazing listeners.
All right, can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Firstly, it's a 3-letter phrase. It's very simple. Get to work. Gotta get to work. Whether for my ladies, y'all trying to get that soft life, you're gonna have to get to work. For my single people, I'm a single advocate right now. If you want to work on your self-love, you got to get to work. If you're trying to build a family business, you got to get to work. Buying black, get to work. Relationship, get to work. And just for context, we have a negative connotation with work, with slavery and stuff. But work is actually defined as actively involving mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a purpose or result. So if you have a purpose, you're going to be working. It's just going to happen. If you want to have a result, you have to get to work. So honestly, that sums up everything, because whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are trying to gain a relationship of any kind, whether you are trying to buy black and participate in Palate Protocol, that breaks down to recognize, strategize, mobilize, and revolutionize. If you want to do better in your community, you got to get to work.
Get to work.
Get to work.
It is. This is random. It's coming to my head. I know this is supposed to be the parting thing, but you got a Palate Protocol book or ebook, one-sheeter, anything like that coming out?
It's in the works, man. It's in the works. And now that it's going to include that economic model you mentioned, and all that, but it's in the works.
Dope. Need it. I'm also working on my next book over here. Also going to be around economics. So we're going to do some nice brainstorming, have some nice writing sessions, all that good stuff. All right. But as usual, we appreciate y'all for tapping into the M4 show, Melanated Married Millionaires in the making. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
We hope y'all secure the marriage. We hope y'all secure the love. And of course, make sure you secure the bag. Peace. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.